people see your success, purchase your albums, attend your workshops, wear your name brand clothing, and give to your charity. But how many people know your personal struggle, understand your true purpose, or even see the hard work and dedication you put into your passion? It's time to go beyond the obvious and reveal the unseen. I am Carletta McMillian, and this is Beyond Revealed. Hello, I'm Carletta McMillian with Beyond Revealed, and I have another treat for you guys. Sitting here on my show, I have special guest, Cassandra O'Neal. Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm so excited that you're here. I really am. For you guys that don't know, Cassandra O'Neal is a gospel recording artist and also a consultant, a worship consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Your joy that makes me smile and wanna go that extra mile, even change my whole lifestyle. All I can say is incredible. Incredible. All I can say.
How do they intertwine?
Well, actually, one is the platform for the other.
Okay.
It's the recording artist that's the launch pad for me as a worship consultant.
Okay.
My passion, and I'm going on record to say this, is not to be a national recording artist. Mm-hmm. God's plan for my life is a national worship leader. Difference between the two, mm-hmm. One is as a recording artist, of course, people expect you to come, do mm-hmm. concerts, do singing events. Not that I don't do that now, mm-hmm. but as a national worship leader, I'm there to help churches develop praise teams, help praise teams develop into more than just Sunday morning singers, to really realize what the calling and the gifting that's required to do that, which they do every Sunday and Wednesday.
Okay. Now, of course, that's not your goal to be this huge gospel recording artist, right. But that's who you are. And I've watched you grow, and I love your style of music. Now, how did it all begin for you to have this platform?
Wow. Now, that in and of itself, nothing to do with me. One thing that I had to do was just simply say yes. Mm-hmm. Even at an early age of 6, I started singing at the church, but it was because it was something to do on Sunday morning. It wasn't until 2010 when I was approached as a worship leader mm-hmm. by the producer, Chris Clay, of the first album that I've done. Mm-hmm. And even then, I never visualized me recording an album because I figured it would be something to do with worship and mm-hmm. it would be with the church choir or the church team. But long story short, he finally said something that just cut me to the quick. He says, I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Mm. And it was like running into a Mack truck and finally saying, okay, so we're going to try this. 2010, we went in and wrote my first single, which was incredible. And just the doors that it opened up to be able to know that my song is playing not just in the U.S., mm-hmm. but in the UK, yes. I think it reached like 50 radio stations. And it's just been an incredible journey. Okay. So that's when God was sharing with me and showing me that this is what I'm going to use to get you where I said I'm going to take you. So, again, it wasn't my goal. Doesn't mean
but it worked.
It did.
Yeah, it worked.
It did.
Now you were the first lady on the Platinum Vibe recordings.
Yes.
And you branched away from that label, mm-hmm. and now you're an independent artist.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I wanted to hear. And let me tell you why, because I work with a lot of independent artists, and they don't know how to start. They don't know where to begin. So hearing it from a successful independent artist now, tell us how do you keep moving forward?
For me, and I don't want to give anybody false hope, the mm-hmm. good thing the thing that you want to seek to do, even if you're with a record company, have some friends mm-hmm. in the industry, have some friends within the record company. For me, because this label actually started so that they could sign me, that's how I became the first lady of Platinum Vibe. The friendship that we had mm-hmm. and developed mm-hmm. still continues now outside. We're not connected, as a label and an artist anymore, but they're a go-to person for me. They're still pushing. Yeah. So doors that were open for me as a part of the label are still open because I'm Cassandra O'Neal. Yeah. They work with me, they know me, and they still want to continue. So I would say that, the independent artists, even if you haven't worked with the label and have no desire to do mm-hmm. so, the main thing, and this is what I got from you. Oh. This is what I got from you. And I'll tell anybody, you aren't afraid to tackle a big project. So as an independent artist, don't ever say, I'm just little old me, I can't do this. Dream big and then go chase it. Run it down. If it's meant for you, that's what it's meant for you. Yeah. So I'll say to the independent artist, also know the realm that you're supposed to be in. If you're just meant to be a local artist, go hard as a local artist. If you're meant to be national, go hard, but just know where you're supposed to be.
So I know you talked about how you've seen me, have that type of influence on you. But what were some of the things that people have said to you that pushed you and you remember now that keeps you going?
Wow. This is it's not off topic, but I'm going to share it with you. It was back in December. I mean, just recently, the last Christmas, I did my rendition of "Oh Holy Night," and I've sang that song before. I even put it out before my album came out. But there was one lady who said to me, I've heard people sing that song a million times, but the last 25 years have been hard for me. She's been going through, a divorce and then things with her children. But she said, when you sang that song, it's like I was there in Bethlehem. I had never heard anybody say that. Wow. She said it was like I was witnessing the birth of the Lord Jesus Christ. And you brought Christmas to my heart this year. She said, so from this moment forward, never doubt what God has called you to do. That sealed it. That was something that helped me while I was in the midst of it. Because we all do. We go through it. We wonder, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Especially when you run into those brick walls. Yeah. When you run into where you're going full speed and you're doing what you feel that you're called to do, and then you hit that wall. And it's like, really, is it worth it? Is it worth the knot on the head? Is it worth this one, this one more? Yeah.
Once we know what we're called to do, it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Right.
It's worth it. So that's just an example of doing what God has called you to do and not being concerned about who's watching, who's not watching, who's going to like it, who's not going to like it. I'm doing it mainly for Him, and I know that the purpose is to draw others to Him and to with the gift that He's given me.
And with that gift, your music, what is your pull that, what brings it out of you?
I'm going to say, everybody has pains and things in their past. I've used events from my past to push me to continue to do what God has called me to do. Those things that used to make me cry, now I turn it around and look for the good, as David said, looking for the good in the, of the Lord in the land of the living. I use those things now to sing forth that joy. To sing about things that people can relate to, no matter. That song in and of itself for the past 10 months, and I give all glory to God, has been in the top 200 gospel songs on the radio.
It's easy to give praise when He comes through, and everything is working out for you. But what about those days and nights you pray, and nothing ever seems to go your way? Well, this is what you do. This is what you say that will help increase your faith. Hey, no matter why, no matter why, no matter when, no matter where I am, that God is there, and no matter why.
To be able to sing about things that people can relate to, want to relate to, and not just place them down in there, oh, I know you got problems, I know you got trials, but talking with them how to come out of it, how to overcome it. That's what people want. They want hope.
I wanted to ask you about our connection for a minute. I know, because you said worship would highlight to you, and how we met was through Jeremiah 29:11. When I was just coming out of school and searching for myself and trying to understand exactly what God had for me. And I remember getting an email from Chris Clay, and it said something recording artist, and I'm like, God, what is this? And he was like, basically, get up, email this guy back. And I'm like, okay, I emailed it back. Hi, my name is such and such. I'm PR, da-da-da. And it came up, and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing nothing in the gospel. I don't know this lady. Said Cassandra O'Neal. So anyway, God basically told me to get dressed, go to the studio. You were in the studio recording Jeremiah 29:11. And I'm like, are you serious? So, you know, our connection with Jeremiah 29:11, do you have other stories that outside of the one you shared that you took the lady back to the day that Jesus was born, and then our connection, do that drive you as well to continue your path on music?
It does. It does. I think every time, like with God bringing you across my path, that day you made me feel like 8 feet tall.
For real?
No kidding. I mean, here I am just starting out, and Jeremiah came out of a bad Saturday. Bad Saturday where I'm sitting there thinking, God, is this really what you got for me? I mean, really, because if honestly, I'm being real. If this is it, I'm done. I mean, I can do without this pain. Here, you know, when you're always a person that's trying to help, seems like you're trying to help others and nothing seems to be panning out for you. And then, you know, you get hit with this. But Jeremiah was really saying, you know, I know the thoughts I have towards you, you know, and when the words start coming together to set you on high and to honor you, that doesn't mean, you know, that you have to be a national recording artist. I can set you on high in the things that I've called you to do and honor you. And that one line, when he gave that one to me, I just about fell out my seat.
And you went for it.
Let me use your life to bless more lives than watch my plan unfold. Man, you talk about waiting on the Lord. So it's just you and I just doing what God has called us to do, being a blessing to others, and then he's going to unfold that plan. And not only are we going to see it, but all those around
will see it. Tell me a little about your growing up.
Oh, my goodness. Now, my grandmother, I have to give glory to God for her and thank God for her. She's not here. She died when I was in the 11th grade. And she was the one that, in essence, introduced me to Jesus Christ. It was summers I would go and spend time with her, and there was a bus that would come through and pick up the neighborhood kids and take us off to church. So the bus driver was the one that led me to Christ. But I say again, if I had not been at my grandmother's house and she had not said get on that bus, I would have never been introduced to Christ. In her death, this is the very first time I ever started writing. I started writing poetry. I wrote a poem for her funeral, and I wrote a song that people thought, well, I didn't write the song. It was a Whitney Houston song, All at Once, and I changed the words to reflect how I was feeling about my grandmother. And so because that song wasn't playing yet on the radio, they like, oh, she wrote a song. So when Whitney Houston's song did start playing, they were going, she stole my cousin's song. But it was the other way around. So that's when I realized I could actually write, and so I continued to go on and write, and I did have one poem that was published when I was in the 11th grade, shortly after she passed. So she was a big influence. Even after, this is a funny story, we used to always get up early in the morning. At 5:30, she would call my name, and you think I'm going to tell you that nickname right here, I'm not going to have it. I know y'all would want to hear that, but...
What is it, Cassandra?
Do I want to dare? Yeah, because I want to be real. I want y'all to know. Yeah, my nickname was Mooney.
Mooney.
And so if anybody walks up to me and says that, I know they know me from back in the day.
We were at a concert, and your cousin called you Mooney. Yes, I remember.
And I'm like, okay. Here's how the name came about. My mom, when she was pregnant with me, she craved moon pies and Pepsi Cola, and I can't stand either one of those to this day.
Wow.
But moon pies. So you take the P out of moon pie, you got Mooney. That's what my uncle called me. I don't know why they called me that. I didn't eat it. She did.
Mooney. It worked.
But so she would call me every morning at 5:30 like clockwork. So when she passed, every morning I could still hear her calling me, and I would wake up 5:30, and I'm like, wow, you know, I really missed her.
Yeah.
So every now and again I'll say something that she would say, and I just have to laugh. It sounds like my grandmother.
That's good that she left a positive impact on you. That's very good.
Positive. I wish you could have seen all that's happening, but you know, I got a feeling she kind of knows.
Yeah, you'll meet her again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you'll meet her again. With now growing up for you, I know that you went through some struggles and abuse.
Yes.
Let's talk about, you know, how has that abuse affected the positive light. You were molested. Yes. As a child. Wow, like 12 or 12?
I was 5.
5?
I was 5.
I thought it was older, okay.
Yeah, I was 5. Did not remember it. I guess I went through that mental block kind of thing. So I did not remember it, that it actually happened until I was 20 years old. Again, I thank God for his covering, because prior to remembering it, I was suffering from depression, contemplating suicide. I actually got to the point where I was going to do it, just had to decide how.
Wow.
You know, was it going to be gunshot, knife, you know, pills? But thanks be to God.
Yeah.
It's just in my spirit. He was like, just try me one more time. Just try me one more time. I won't disappoint you. And when I said yes, complete turnaround. So it was, again, I was 5 years old. Looking back, the signs were there, but I guess because it wasn't a lot that people talked about, nobody questioned me. Nobody asked me, you know, what I asked my children when they were small. They come home from school, anybody touch you today? Anybody say anything to you? You know, so I used to dwell on it, harp on it.
Not anymore.
But I survived it. And so I use it again to propel me. You share your story, you're real and transparent before people. Things happen, bad things happen. And I learned to, first of all, forgive. I've forgiven the person. Never have seen them to say it to them verbally, but in my spirit and in my heart, I had to do that so that I could heal.
You knew your abuser?
Yes.
You did?
It was actually a family friend. His mother, because my birthday was in November, I wasn't good. Yeah, 10 days after yours. November 2nd?
Yes.
November 12th. Yes. 10 days apart. I like that. So she better not forget my birthday, and I'm not going to forget yours. Let's remind each other.
Okay.
But yeah, because my birthday was in November, I didn't get to go to kindergarten like the other students. I had to wait.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you
my
understand.
birthday is late, yeah. Okay.
So that's why I was at this lady's house, you know, babysitting. It was her son. I think he might have been like 14. I don't, you know, he's experimenting. I don't know what's happening. I don't know that it's right or wrong, you know. So I never came out and told anybody. Again, didn't come back to my remembrance until I was 20, sitting there watching a show where ladies were talking about things that had happened, and I could see the flashes, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I immediately, the first thing I did, other than cry, was thank God that he did not let me remember then, because I would have done it. At that point, I didn't see a reason to live, but because now I've given God my heart and given him my life, I've got a lot to live for.
Okay. Now, did you ever tell your parents, you know?
When I was 21.
You told her?
I did.
What was her reaction?
My mom cried. My dad was ready to go and kill somebody, but I'm like, no. That's, you know, I forgive them. It's done. I'm over it. Let's move forward.
So between 5 and 20, you didn't know anything, so it wasn't like, why did you hold it in? So you didn't have...
No recollection.
Yeah.
Only thing that I did have was the results, or the, you know, we're being real and whatnot. The effects of it was my body was craving something that it felt, didn't understand. And so as a teenager, I'm out there, you know, promiscuous. But I remember not liking me. I didn't like being that way. You know, people could be cruel, and, you know, they'll call you all kinds of names, you know, slut and all those things. And I would walk around, I don't care, say what you want to say, but at night I'm crying because I did not like the way I was, could not understand why I was the way I was. And I think I had to be broken and get to that point where God can now come and heal and then reveal to me, you know, this is what I've kept you through, and now I got a story to tell. I can help somebody who's out there. You know, I'm not as judgmental as I used to be about a lot of stuff. You know, homosexuality, to me, I think the majority of it, somebody has done something to them. Somebody has touched them, done something. They didn't just wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to be this. So I'm not one to judge. I thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming out. You have been a blessing to me in my life personally, and also to the many that, you know, that buy your album. So I thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I think you've been a greater blessing to me, honestly. And anybody who has this girl in your circle of friends, you're blessed. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Beyond Revealed. I'm your host, Carletta McMillian, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching another episode of Beyond Revealed. I hope that you were encouraged by this story. Keep in mind, by opening up with others, you will prompt them to open up with God.
Stay tuned next week for another powerful interview.